Today.
Ooh, that pushes a lot of air.
Yeah, you can drop it now. Switch it over to the other one.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Got it.
Got it. Today we're going to talk about drones again.
Yeah.
And one show in 12 we've talked about drones. We need to do that a lot more.
Maybe more often. Yeah.
Because more than half of my cameras are drones. So at least they fly. So they're a flying tripod.
That makes me feel bad. Because my drone is still lost in the wilderness.
I don't think that it's workable anymore, is my opinion.
It's probably not.
This one is a little Tello, and DJI does not claim this drone, although it is...
It's like an Intel DJI collaboration, though, right?
They use, like kids, this is designed with an open API where kids can use this in school to learn how to actually program drones to do cool little things. But one of these is about $119, and you can buy each additional battery for about 20 bucks. It doesn't have any onboard storage, just records directly to your phone. But it does 720p video, which is not bad, and it literally will only fly about as far away as your phone has
as your signal.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And then this little controller is like a little video game controller, and you hook that up to your phone via Bluetooth.
Bluetooth, okay.
And then you can fly this, which makes a huge difference. Now, there's one reason that I would recommend that people get one of these, besides giving it to your kids to play with if your kids want a legitimate real drone.
Yeah.
And what that is that this uses Mode 2 for the controller, and so you can learn how to fly your drone with a little Tello. So you've got the navigation and where up and down is and where side to side and what the yaw is and everything. From within your drone itself, and the thing that's kind of cool about it is that, like, literally while we're doing this, you can see the video, and obviously our little intro where it flew in came from just directly taking the video off the phone and putting it out to you guys. So that's sort of workable. We're going to switch that right now. And then we'll talk to you about some of the other things we can show close-ups with the other camera. But these little Tellos are fun, and they're probably the only drone of all these drones that I would ever recommend really flying in your house.
Oh, yeah, it's so small.
It is small. And you can take the bumper guards off, the prop guards off, and stuff like that, but it works.
It's pretty warm, too.
It gets a little warm.
Ooh, yeah.
It has... on the bottom, it actually, like every drone has to figure out how it flies within 3D space. And most of them will use an altimeter and uses the kind of the barometric pressure a little bit, and a compass, and a combination of those things and GPS. This obviously isn't expensive enough to use a GPS receiver.
Right. It looks like it has a couple little sensors down here at the bottom.
It does, and so if I try to fly this in a parking lot at the mall at night, then I'm running across the parking lot to try to catch it, because if it can't see the ground very well, then it can't hold its position very well. I've done that.
Oh, okay.
It also doesn't fly in your house very well at night if it's dark. And all drones use sensors that work like cameras, and so even the object avoidance sensors that any drone may come with these days needs light. And so that's important if you're expecting to be flying in a position where it's dark. Remember your object avoidance sensors. If you're going to rely on those are not reliable at nighttime.
Right.
So what we're going to do today, and the thing that has kind of inspired this is, I got to push that because it's thinking that we're not interested anymore.
Yeah.
I sold my Phantom 4 Professional. Finally, I just couldn't stand the convenience factor of the Mavic Air. Mavic Pro
Mavic,
2
yeah.
is what I ended up replacing it with. And this drone has been out now for about 4 months.
Has it been? It
Yeah.
seems longer than that, but
Maybe
yeah.
August. It came out in August.
Okay. Okay.
And the advantage to this drone is literally the size of about a 70 to 200.
Smaller. That's smaller
Maybe
than a
smaller.
7200.
It
Yeah.
weighs about the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. But look at that. I mean, I can
I mean,
literally...
you compare the size. I mean, look at the size difference. Even with this, with the guards on, actually is wider than this thing tucked in.
It is, and I
crazy.
have a friend that was teaching how to fly the other day, and she has a little Spark.
Okay, which is a little bit in between these two.
Yeah, it is. It's probably the smallest of the drones that DJI produces. It is that has GPS positioning and hold and everything like that. It does not have OcuSync, which the Mavic, I believe the Mavic Air actually has OcuSync, but I'm not sure on that because I don't have one.
And that's the connectivity technology, right?
Yes, yeah. That's what beams the video back
right.
and takes care of the controlling of it. These drones don't have OcuSync. This one has
the Light Bridge.
Yeah, this one has Light Bridge 1, and this one has Light Bridge 2.5 in it.
Okay,
and so that's the previous tech, and it's interesting because this one has 2.5. I wouldn't be surprised. My feeling is that DJI is. I should introduce these a little bit. This one is the very first drone I ever bought. I didn't get a Phantom. That's not true. This is the first DJI drone I ever bought, which is this one is the Inspire 1.
Yeah.
And the Inspire 1 grew into the Inspire 1 Professional, but you can convert this one into the Inspire 1 Professional by attaching a
base
plate on
the
here.
bottom, replacing it,
And then I've put the lifts on, because I had some extra ones, to lift the front of the drone up at least, because I like a little bit more clearance with the camera anyhow.
Yeah.
So
I've had to do that myself, but I just temporarily glued some wood to the bottom of the things.
Yeah, so they actually give you a kit for about $110 that allows you...
Wood's way cheaper. Yeah, that's what
allows you to have the longer feet and stuff. The motors were increased a little bit with the Inspire 1 Professional versus the Inspire.
Yes, they did upgrade the motors a little bit.
Just a little bit, but it would still carry the X5 or the X5R cameras, which surprisingly are really expensive still. I mean, they've held their value very well. If you can get one without a lens for $700 used, you're doing well.
Yeah, because I remember looking at the little egg ones when I was going to replace mine, and I couldn't find them for less than $500.
Yeah, and for a while there, the little egg ones, when the X5 cameras came out,
that's the X3, right?
This is the X3. Yeah. The X5 is a little bit more like this one. It has interchangeable lenses, and you use those with. There's about 7 lenses that are either Panasonic or Olympus, because it's a micro 4/3 sensor.
Right.
And you could fly those different ones. This one is the one that it came with. That basically has the same sensor, little cell phone sensor like the Mavic 1 did, or a regular Phantom that's not a Pro, the Phantom 4 Pro.
Right.
The Phantom 4 Pro and this guy use about this. It's exactly the same sensor. The fact that everybody talks about this is how this comes out too, by the way. So these come out this way and this way, and then you take the gimbal guard off, and then you've got that, and you can see where they say, oh, this is a Hasselblad camera. It's a Sony sensor, and it's the same, basically the same optics as they had in the Phantom 4 Professional. Now they have the Phantom 4 Professional V2, which has OcuSync. That's the difference between the version 1 and version 2, is they put OcuSync in it, the new technology that's the radio connection technology. This one doesn't have OcuSync in it.
Right.
And my guess is that they will come out with an Inspire 2 Pro as well and put OcuSync in it, and maybe some side object avoidance sensors, because
Or maybe just go with an Inspire 3 maybe with that.
I don't think so. I think the DJI has gotten to the point where they kind of realize that keeping the same form factor is a huge benefit, because people will upgrade. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with a better camera at some point. And they did on this one already. This one was additionally produced with the X4S camera.
Okay.
And that was one that was basically like the little white one here.
Okay. Okay.
And then they had the X5S, which is a micro four thirds camera that's designed for this one, because this will not use the X5 or the X5R.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a different connection. So these cameras come off like this, and you can see right here that this is a different connection than this one. This one has
that's much more refined looking than the Inspire 1.
Yeah, it's a lot smarter. So they're not compatible with the old cameras.
Right.
DJI stopped last fall. They stopped making the Inspire 1 completely.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, finally. But the reason that they finally stopped making them is because they were still selling them because they didn't have a good solution for the radiometric cameras for the Inspire 2 yet, or for the Matrice M200 series, which are really the ones that use radiometric cameras of the new modern drones.
Okay.
There is a Mavic 2 Enterprise that you can get. It's called the Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual, that actually has a pretty basic radiometric camera on it. So it's like a...
So tell us what a radiometric camera does. What's so special about that?
It detects heat. It's the ones that you can see...
Infrared sensor.
Yeah, you can see the infrared. And so that is what the new ones... And that's the most recent drones that DJI has released, except today they announced kind of a new version of the Matrice M200 and M210. They have a version 2 where they put some changes in there. But see, for us who are interested in videography and photography, the Matrice series is not... I had a Matrice M600, and I had it because I couldn't fly anything that was high enough resolution to make me happy. And so I was using this big...
full frame camera on there.
Yes. So I could put a full frame big camera on there. So I didn't buy this drone when it first came out. I bought it when the X7 camera came out. The X7 camera is pretty impressive because, you know what, I'm going to take this off again after I just spent all that time. Let's use our second camera. And
real quick though, let's go into this question that we have.
Sure.
We have a question from the group asking, what are the price ranges of the drones on the table? Kathy was wondering.
I'm really glad you asked, Kathy, because there's a reason that I brought this old one. And the reason that I brought the old one was because I literally bought this one, and it was a good deal. Granted, it was a good deal. I haven't seen one that good a deal, but it was such a good deal. I just said I'm going to buy it. I bought this one recently because I had sold mine when I sold my Matrice. And I sold my Inspire 1 when I bought this guy because this is so expensive. I needed every dime I could get. This one, I bought this one, a month ago? Now? For $400.
$400? Oh, it was 5. It was actually 4?
It was 4. Now,
holy cow. That is a deal.
I didn't think any of the batteries worked. They gave me the batteries. I bought a couple of more. So I've got 5 batteries for it now. And the batteries work just fine.
And I got 2 batteries as well.
They just needed to be reconditioned. And so they needed to be reset. You know? And so I ran them. I literally went out. I ran them. I hovered the drone at a foot off the ground and ran the batteries all the way down a couple of times to make sure that they were healthy and okay. And it's fine. It works just fine. And it's fun to fly. And that's one of the reasons I've got this
It is
one.
fun to fly, yeah.
But the difference here is...
So used, you can get this, I would say, safely between $400 to $600 used for the Inspire
I would
one.
say you're probably looking at more like $700 or $800.
That's going to be the average price.
With the X3.
Yeah.
But it's the camera that's so expensive right now, and it's because that same camera is used on the regular Osmo. And the Osmo, people use those Osmos, and it's a great camera. The X5 is a fantastic Micro Four Thirds 16 megapixel camera.
Right.
And so the cameras are still expensive. So this drone with the old simple camera that doesn't have an aperture or anything like that.
Right.
This is pretty inexpensive, and I bought it mostly because of it's fun and a little nostalgic for me. It doesn't have any object avoidance on it.
To be honest with you, he just felt bad for me, so he basically bought it for me so I could use it.
Well,
because I lost mine
too. For $400, you just can't. So there's that one.
So that's the middle grade. This is the low end at about 119, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and then each battery is $20 on that one. Yeah, you get.
If you want to get into drones, this is the great place to start because you can learn all the stuff. You can bang this, you can drop it, you can do it. This is going to last you a while.
Yep, and it doesn't fly outside if there's a wind very well. But here's
on a nice, clear, calm day. It's a great drone, indoor drone, practice drone. It's perfect for that.
Where did I put it? I've got a little battery bank thing. Oh, here it is.
Battery bank for this guy to charge?
No, check this out. So one of the problems is this is a Wi-Fi only.
Yeah.
And if you try to fly it like from one side of a soccer field to the other,
you might
on
lose
a calm
signal.
day, you're going to lose signal. But this thing costs $10.
Really?
It's from Xiaomi or something.
It's a Wi-Fi extender?
And it's a Wi-Fi extender that's that big, and you just plug it into your little battery bank and put it in your wife's purse halfway down the field or whatever.
Or just on the ground. Yeah.
On the ground even, and it about doubles the range of the Tello. So that's kind of fun
that's pretty
for
cool.
$10.
Yeah.
So that's a doable solution to kind of extend that. So that one, there's the low end. I mean, with 4 batteries, and I bought this cool little case, and I've literally kept this like in my glove box, and so I'm less than $200. Yeah, it goes
Take the guards off.
No, it fits right in with this one. This is an aftermarket case, and you just put it in and have that closed up like that. And I've got
show it open again.
Always have a little drone with me. But what I use this for is when I go and teach friends how to fly a drone, I'll teach them with the Tello.
Perfect. Yeah.
Because this is the first way to get it in your fingers, right? And so you kind of get to the point where you're understanding. Now, one of the things that in talking to people about that as far as the controller itself goes, that is one of the more important things when you're very first learning how to fly a drone, is always learn in Mode 2. Mode 2 is the standard for everything. And then when you look at this, all of them work the same way when they're in Mode 2. And if you remember that the right stick takes care of all your movement on this plane.
Yeah, forward, back, left, right.
Yep, this is left, right, forward, and back.
Okay.
Okay, so this will move it this way, or side to side. This one is your up and down, and then this is your yaw. No, twist.
Oh, twist.
You got it in your mind, but you don't have it in your brain.
Yeah.
So it's in your fingers.
Which is so different.
So yeah, he remembers this in his fingers, but but not in his head. So this one is the yaw. So these drones don't, like if you're flying a drone, you will never be able to control the drone and tell it to do this. The only way it does this is if it's moving fast one direction or the other, or if the wind's blowing. Then it will lean in, and the gimbal will straighten the view out, right? So if the wind's blowing really hard, it will lean into the wind, but the gimbal will still be level to the ground.
Yeah.
So there is a way that you can tip the camera up and down on these, but that you will never, there's no control that says, okay, I'm going to tip it like this, except I want to go that way.
Yeah, it won't stay
'cause it
still
pulls
that
it
way. Yeah, it won't stay this way because it's always pushing air. And
Right.
so once it turns this way, it'll push over this way or that way.
Right, but so a lot of times people think
So
that that's a control
banking.
that you can do. You can't do that control. It's automatic. It's just part of how the drone flies.
Right, right.
So there's two different ways. You can set it to first person view, where it makes you feel like you're in an airplane, where your view changes with the banking of the drone. Or there's the regular one that we all
really?
use.
So first person will lock the camera in place and then just that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but I mean, unless you're doing a specific video where you want people to feel like they're in an airplane or something, you never use that.
Right.
So this drone, this one, the Mavic 2 Professional, is and I should say the Mavic is less than $1,000 right now.
Right. The first version. Yeah.
The first version. This one is it actually came out at $1,450.
Yeah.
And now they've raised it to $1,500 for the drone by itself.
Okay.
Okay.
So they had an introductory price, $50 cheaper.
Yeah, they didn't even say it was introduced. They just did it because
Yeah.
they knew the demand was there.
Yeah.
The guys are saying that one of our guests, Robert, has said he would love to buy a drone, but after last week's episode, he bought a Sky Tracker. The Skywatch Star Adventurer.
Nice.
That and this are about the same price, actually. So, okay, the other things that are really cool about these drones is this one has
lots of sensors on
object avoidance sensor on both sides, and it has them on the back, and it has them on the front, and it has them on the bottom right here.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So, right here. These are the
and
object
some LEDs
avoidance.
it looks like too.
These are LED lights,
Yeah.
so it actually light up the ground below it.
Okay.
And so this one has object avoidance every direction except up.
Okay.
It's interesting because it has this infrared one, but it doesn't go up.
You think
this
they just take one of
one,
them?
this one has up and front and back and down, but it does not have side to side.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh. Okay.
And I really never pay any attention because I learned on this because this one doesn't have any object avoidance anywhere.
Right.
And so I don't fly with the expectation that the drone is going to save me. Now, one of the things that does is that makes it so that I am not used to flying really low.
Yeah.
Because I always just stay out of the way of stuff. One of the other suggestions that I've got, and I've written a list of about, 12 or 14 tips to give you some ideas as far as what you should do if you're just first getting a drone and learning how to fly it. And one of the things that you do is don't fly these down at your eye level when you're learning. Get them up above the highest
Or worse
thing.
yet, your knee level, like I've done in the past, and slice my jeans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, another story for another time.
I got like 10 stitches from this one.
Yeah.
When I first had it.
Yeah. So it's not a good idea. It's a good idea to take this thing up in an open area.
Yep.
Up about 100 feet first, and then get all your practice.
Very first thing you do is you put it up 100 feet.
Yeah.
Remember that all of these have a button that you can just push and it'll come back and land where it took off from. And so to begin with, you auto land and auto take off and let it do it itself. You push the one stick up, get it up 100 feet or so, and then you're going to get a little bit of a neck ache, but you're not going to hit a garage door. You're not going to hit somebody in the eye or anything like that.
It's a little scary at first because when you first go up 100 feet, it's like, it's way up there. And you're just like, if this thing drops, I'm dead. Like, I've just lost all this money. But the chances of that happening is pretty slim.
Yeah, the new drones don't run away ever. They don't see really like a radio interference. This one, when it was new, and I got it within about 6 months of the release, I flew it by a police station, and they have a microwave communication system.
Yeah.
And it freaked it out, and I crashed it because of that.
I'm pretty sure that's happened to me in the past too. When I was flying in a canyon, it just completely went black, and it just bolted into the rock. No idea what happened.
And the new ones don't do that.
Yeah.
The new ones don't do that.
They've figured out ways to avoid that, so we don't. Yeah, so you guys don't have those issues now.
So this one's about $1,500, and then this is always a suggestion: is you buy the Fly More kit with these more consumer end drones. And this one's like $300, and what this adds to your package is it adds 2 more batteries, which are usually about $100 each anyhow.
Right.
It adds a, and let me grab this because I've got it right here on the floor. It adds the additional batteries. It adds this little guy that allows you to charge 4 batteries at the same time.
Okay.
So you hook this up right here, and then you obviously plug your
Look at all these futuristic,
machine cord into
high-tech
that.
accessories we got going on here.
And then this is how you charge the remote.
The remote with the
okay.
USB.
And then you've got a USB in here as well, so you can charge your phone that way.
With this one pack.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome.
So you can charge all that. But the other thing that it does is it comes with a charger for your car.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that cool? So you can take that, you can charge your car with your car. It also comes with a couple of extra sets of props.
Right.
And then it comes with this little guy that makes it so that you can use your battery for your Mavic as a charger for your phone or for your camera or whatever with USB.
Wow, so it turns.
So it gives you a couple of USB ports on there, and it gives you this nice little bag, and
That's pretty good value, I guess. Yeah.
It's a good value. It actually saves you about $150.
Okay.
Now for me, I like the little bag. It's a great little bag.
And the drone fits in that bag.
It does.
Too. All one kit will fit in that.
Yep.
Whole
And then I've got the props here.
Nice.
But the other thing that I got is I got this because I like the ability just to throw this into my camera bag. Okay? And because this doesn't work as well. This is it fits in one of my, like the 1-400 or 70-200 lens slot. And this is like,
so if you're taking this out with you to go photography, pop it in here. But if you're taking this out just by itself, perfect bag is this guy.
Right.
Okay.
And so this is, or you use this as your purse, as your carry-on, your personal object on an airplane too. You know, that would work. But I like this. This is like on Amazon. It's about $15 for one of that you can put the drone in here, and then they have one for the controller. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to switch over now to the controller, and this is the controller for this one. And I'm going to pull my phone off because I want to show you some of the actual controls. Now, you know what we didn't do is we still haven't finished talking about cost. This drone, I have, if anybody wants one, I've got a friend that's a dealer that has one that has the X5S, so it has the micro four thirds camera on it. And he's got that, it also has, so one of the other expenses for this one is it's about $1,000 if you want it to be able to shoot Cinema DNG RAW or Apple ProRes.
Okay.
And so you have to buy the license for that.
I see.
And that's $1,000 all by itself.
Wow.
But
that's if you're doing professional video, that's going to be, the value is going to be there for it.
But he's had one of these without the X7, the previous package, that's the cinema package, for sale. It's for like $5,200, and reach out and talk to me if you want that, because that is a killer price when you start to think about the licensing costs and everything like that.
Okay.
But the drone itself is about $3,000. Then it comes with one controller. That's about, one of these is about $600. It takes 2 batteries for the drone, and the batteries come off. A couple of things about it that are neat is that the batteries come off, and you can take one battery off at a time. And so you don't have to reboot the whole drone up. You can actually hot swap the batteries. So you do one and then the other, and you just keep it going. So it can come in, land, swap the batteries in 2 seconds, and be off again. If you're on the set for a movie or something like that.
Because with these, you couldn't do this. These, once you pull the battery out, boom, it's shut down.
But these are about $160, $170 a piece.
And you need 2 of those to fly.
Yeah, so you get 8 of them. It gets to a pretty big expense. Then the other thing that it has is it has this. And this is crazy because this camera will shoot in Cinema DNG. It'll shoot 6K video at 24 frames a second, 24.97. The dynamic range is incredible. The Cinema DNG is I mean, I shot one day with Cinema DNG, and I said, you know what? Nothing I do is important enough to have to go through the process
of grading it
to turn this into usable video, because literally what it's doing is it's shooting 24 raw frames per second, and basically you have to put it back into a video. I mean, it's just nuts. It needs something that's very fast to put that on, and this is a 480 gig SSD that goes in the rear of the drone. It also has a SD card, and so you can shoot video to the SD card. You just can't shoot some of these raw codecs.
It's got to be something super fast like this.
Super
has to be
fast and super big. But like the Cinema DNG RAW, you're talking, I think it's 16 gigs for 30 seconds. I think it's either 30 or a minute. Can't remember for sure. But that's 14-bit raw video.
So it's a crazy big amount of data that you're shoving in this thing every second. And but it can handle it, though, which is awesome.
But last summer, and they announced this last spring, but last summer they had a update to it. And if you had the licenses for the codecs, for the Apple ProRes codecs, before it would shoot Apple 422 and 444 HQ. Now it will shoot Apple ProRes RAW or Apple ProRes RAW HQ. The thing that's so awesome about it is that it literally cuts the amount of video. The codec will compress it without looking compressed. It's literally sixes for the Cinema DNG versus the video that Apple ProRes RAW does.
Wow.
And it's like Cinema DNG is 3.5 times as big for the same amount of video. And so it's so compressed. Cinema DNG is something that Apple came up with, and you can only edit that video with Final Cut Pro. Premiere won't do it. The Avid won't do it. None of the other ones, DaVinci Resolve won't do it.
Oh, really?
And so Blackmagic came out with something that's kind of their version of Apple ProRes RAW. That's except they gave a carte blanche free license to everybody to use it. You know, it's open source. This one is expensive, but it's a little better. The consumer grade cameras that have the capability to shoot this, there's one new one that's pretty exciting. Is Sony won't do it, Panasonic won't do it, Canon won't do it, because only their upper level real video cameras will shoot that kind of a raw codec of Apple ProRes RAW. But the Nikon Z series will, because Nikon isn't cannibalizing any of their upper level cameras because they don't have any. And so they're like, haha, this is one place that we can do it. So you can shoot Apple ProRes RAW with a Nikon Z series with an Atomos recorder. So it needs something that takes that video quick enough and has a process.
So it'll shoot the raw video out, and then the Atomos will compress it using the Apple ProRes.
And so that's the thing that's so crazy about this drone, is that this drone's brain is up here in the nose of it, and it's doing it. It's the only camera that's out, unless you get into like the big pro level video cameras, that will actually record Apple ProRes RAW in 5.7K is what it'll do. And so I've seen guys that have built a cage where they take the props off of this thing and they're putting it on a crane on a car and doing car chases with the drone hanging off the front of the crane on the car. Because
it's so much cheaper.
Because the camera is incredible for what it is.
And you've got a built-in gimbal too, so I mean it's going to have smooth motion. That's a pretty cool idea, actually.
So I've seen guys doing that, and I'm going, really? Are you kidding? But really, that's what it is. But here's the thing, is that you get to the point where, like they have two different versions. Actually, they have three different versions. They've got the ultra bright and then the regular bright crystal sky monitors that run a version of Android, and they become the monitor. But the thing that's beautiful about them is they are so incredibly bright that I can turn that brightness up and I can see it without a hood in broad daylight. Okay, so it is awesome. And that's one of those things that you're always struggling with, even if you turn.
Oh yeah, brightness has always been an issue.
So that's a problem. The other thing that's neat is this controller right here is called Descendants Remote Control. And
it's an awesome controller.
It's incredible because these are programmable buttons, so you can tell it what to do. It has 2 programmable buttons on the bottom. It has 1, 2 here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can control. You can tell the remote control just like you have some programmable buttons on high-end DSLRs. You can control these buttons that way. You can get into the menu by just pushing the menu button, and you can see how these right here, you can get in here and you can change all of these to where, like I can do peak focusing, change here. I can switch between 5.8 and 2.4 gigahertz for the controller. I can turn my histogram on and off here. This one is undefined right now. This actually will allow me to manually focus. So I can do focus pulling from the air.
Wow.
And then these ones, this one is your ISO. This one is your shutter speed. So you just press that and spin this dial. And this is your aperture.
Okay.
And this is exposure compensation.
Okay.
And so you can do all of that right from the control.
Wow.
Now, there's a cost for this.
Sure.
This is $1,000.
Yikes.
This is $1,000. The panel
adds up real fast.
The panel antenna that comes with it is $300. This one
so the panel doesn't come with it. It's an extra charge.
So there's a DJI panel. So you can either get whips that are from DJI, or you can get a panel antenna that folds out from underneath.
Which I've seen before. You had. Yeah.
Now I bought this one just recently, and this one is another probably $450. But this has amplifiers that are inside of it. And I had my Mavic Pro 2 modified. I had my Mavic Pro 2 modified here to accept this switch. This is a Titan switch remote control, and I can put that on this one
if you want to.
If I want. Now I don't know if that's really necessary. I actually haven't.
Yeah, I'm betting with the bigger antennas, it's probably going to be pretty good.
Without the bigger antennas, I watched a guy totally break the rules on the internet.
Right.
And he flew
that's
drone.
That's the internet's for, is for breaking the rules.
He flew that drone in Hawaii 6 miles away.
Whoa.
I'm not kidding.
But he's probably direct line of sight, but he couldn't see it physically, but it was probably straight.
It was interesting. He didn't go over 400 AGL.
Right.
But he went way beyond his line of sight.
He's probably just trying to test it, right? Just to see how far it would go.
He was out in Hawaii, over the countryside in Hawaii on the Big Island.
Okay.
Where, I mean, if there's a safe place to do it, that's probably pretty close to
What's his name? Let's troll him.
I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I would never do that. The reason that these are important to me is because a lot of times I like to get in. I want to be relatively far away where I can still see the drone, but I want to be close to the ground. And sometimes you get ground interference, or I'm flying, like I do a lot of cityscapes and stuff like that with this. And I'll be flying where it's line of sight, but there's a lot of Wi-Fi congestion. And when you get amplified antennas like this, you can be still within your line of sight, but with a nice, clear signal.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons I have that. Honestly, nobody needs one of these. You really don't. There are very few people that would ever get to the point where they're going to need to buy one of these.
Yeah, I mean, I can see value in this if you're going to be flying in places like where you have lots of canyons around here. And I've flown my drone up and over, and then once it goes over that rock, man, it loses signal.
It does.
And it had to come back up and find me again before it regains signal.
It does.
And so something like this might help with that if you're flying in a canyon type of area.
This is actually a panel antenna inside that's very directional.
Oh, really?
And then it amplifies the whips on the outside.
Wow,
and you can switch between the whips.
So quick question, guys. You got a second now?
Yeah,
sure.
We got a question coming from Scott. He's saying he's in St. George, first off, and he would love to pay someone to teach him how to use his drone. So, Drew, any interest in getting down to St. George on the way to Zion and hang out with Scott for a little bit?
No, but Scott, if you come up to the northern Utah or central Utah where we are, I'd be glad to show you. It honestly, we're going to do another drone video pretty soon. I did this. We
can do a basic tutorial, right? We can take these outside in the spring.
We'll take it outside. and we'll do this. So on Tuesday, I owed somebody.
Okay.
I had a Monday. I had a favor due, and I went out with 2 friends, women, and showed them how to fly their drones. And we took about 2 hours. And after they were done, they could do everything, and they felt very comfortable with this. Nice. And we're going to do that where we go out from scratch, and we'll show you how to fly this. Well, I think we could do that in the next month or so. It's not going to be that far out. We'll just find a warm day and do this.
Yeah, once it gets over 50 or so, right?
Yeah.
Be fine.
Well, I went out the other night, and it was like sub-zero, and I went and...
Still more questions when you guys got a second?
Sure.
Yeah, we still got...
He was curious about the screen, because he is visually impaired in a way that makes it hard for him to see some of the notifications on the screen that he's provided on the Phantom 4. He has that. He's curious if you know if there's another screen that he can get so that he can see it more easily.
Yes, you can get, and you can use... the Crystal Sky monitor, and this is a 7.8-inch monitor, and you can
very
use
clear, very
that
bright.
one. As a matter of fact, I'll turn this on and we'll show you. Now we're inside right now, so it's not quite the same.
You gotta plug the camera in, buddy.
Oh, you're right.
Where'd it go?
Better turn it on.
It's somewhere in that pile of gear.
Actually, when we're talking about the camera, let's talk about these a little bit.
Okay.
So this camera comes with, and actually.
It comes with one camera. It comes with one lens, right? But then you can buy up to 3 extra lenses.
Yeah.
What's that crystal screen cost?
It's about $1,000.
It's $1,000 for the really ultra high bright one. The ultra high bright. There's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them. That's true. There's one that's not as bright,
and there's one that's not quite as bright. That's about $700. So
still pretty pricey.
And then they have a smaller version that's a 5.5-inch version that is about $500 for the ultra bright, and maybe $450. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the small one.
Good luck, Scott. Buy your drone and then buy another drone, which is your camera screen only.
It's expensive, but here's the thing: is that sometimes you just flat need it. I mean, there's for those of us who are very into it. I mean, I used an iPad for years. And I would upgrade the second the new iPad came out. Cause when, the thing I'm listening for when they're doing the new iPad introduction is they're saying, oh, we increased the screen brightness by 50%. And that was like, oh, I'm selling mine. I'm getting the new one. And I'd have a hood on this and all kinds of stuff, because Hoodman makes hoods for the iPad mini. And that iPad mini is probably the best one.
Sunshade, so you can see it better in the daylight.
And so that helps. Okay, so these are the lenses. This is a 16 millimeter f2.8. They're all f2.8.
Okay.
And this is on a Super 35 crop sensor. And so there's that. So really a 16 is basically a 24. The 24 is basically a 35. The 35 is basically a 50. The 50 is a 75.
Yeah.
So that's the way it works. So this one is the 24. I really, this is the difference. This is one of the big differences between this. This is an incredible drone. The Mavic 2 Professional, bang for the buck, is the flat out best drone on the market.
Best buy for the money.
Question.
Right.
That it is an amazing piece of equipment.
I mean, if you don't have a single drone, if you don't have any experience, this is definitely the best thing to do.
Yeah, get
a Tello for $100. You know, have a budget for about $160. Buy the case, buy the batteries, buy the accessories you need, and then fly around this thing indoors. Take it outside on a nice, clear, calm day, and break yourself in. And then when you want to spend $1,000, a little over $1,000, then you go for this guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic drone, and this will get you probably 50-60% of what that will.
Okay.
To get into this one with the lenses and everything, the lens set is $4,200 if you buy it that way.
Oof.
Each of the lenses is $1,300, except the 50 is $1,200 if you buy them separately or one at a time.
Okay.
It comes with, the 16 has a built-in ND filter that you can set up to where it will work and it'll kick in automatically. So if you're shooting video and you say, I need to keep this, you keep your shutter speed at double your frame rate, and then sometimes it's still too bright, even if you've run the. So this one will go. Geez, I can't even remember. Let me turn it on.
Does this come with the 16?
It comes with the 16 normally by itself. That's the one that the X7 would normally come with. all by itself. But see, what we're getting here is I cannot remember. This one, the smallest the aperture will go to is f11. And so sometimes you're going to need a set, and I have them here in my camera bag, so I would love to show you, but I'm not going to get down and do it. But Polar Pro or DJI, I like the Polar Pro ND filters. Okay. And they have, I got a set that has an ND32, an ND16, an ND8.
And you can just pop them on the front, right?
And you just pop, this thing comes off right here, and it just twists like that. See that? Oh. And so that front comes off.
That's cool.
And then, if I can get it back on. And so it will hold the ND filters right there without screwing on and off, which is actually kind of nice.
Yeah, you just do a twist and pop.
So that twists, pops off, and then you just take it and you put it back on just like that. So you can buy a set.
That's pretty cool. Okay, that's
nice. You can buy a set of ND filters for the. You can get the very fancy ones from Polar Pro for about $150, or they're really good ones that are just fine. A set of 6. So you've got the 3 NDs, and then you've got NDs with polarizing in them as well. You get 3 of those for like $75, and that's a set that I've got from Polar Pro.
Okay.
And sometimes you need that specifically when you're doing video and it just becomes too bright. Right. This one is nice because I can take this and you can get down here, which I can just go like this, and I push that, and you can see. Well, here, let me switch this to here. So we've got the aperture right now. Is it? Oh, sometimes this does this crazy thing. Sometimes it's a little picky with the. There we go. The aperture sometimes doesn't connect really well. See right there?
Okay, yeah.
You can see the aperture changing up here.
There we go,
So come on. Or I can go like this. Oh, it's because it's on auto. What am I thinking? Here's manual settings.
There we go.
So with that, you can switch that up. And so it goes to f16.
Nice.
From f2.8 to f16. The lenses have a carbon fiber barrel. It's no wonder they're expensive.
Right.
And I believe that people have kind of figured out that they're actually made by Fuji.
Oh, okay.
And so Fuji is actually manufactured. But Fuji also makes Hasselblad lenses, and DJI was fully purchased Hasselblad. And so that's the
So the next generation of these probably will be Hasselblad made, not Fuji
made. Yeah, maybe they will brand them as the DL mount lenses. By the way, that's another thing, is that this camera has a different lens mount with a different flange distance
than anything else that exists, right?
Yes, because they could make the Micro Four Thirds work, but as soon as they make that sensor bigger, they had to come up with something different because there was no lens that was small enough and compact enough to actually work with it. Okay. Now, here's the crazy thing.
It's all about weight savings with this, right? Because the more weight you have, the more strain on your battery, and it's not going to last as long. You're not going to fly as long. So
see this? So this one, these will actually, you can put NDs on them. Oh. So it's a 46 millimeter.
So that's just a hood that's on top?
Yeah, that's a hood.
That's cool, okay.
And so the hood is where you can put the cap on it.
Oh, that's great.
And so now they've got this is a sun hood.
Right.
But then the other thing that they have now that is interesting is the very first non-DJI lens just came out, and Laowa just released it. I ordered it.
Those crazy guys, they're going crazy over there with those lenses. That's good.
Laowa has a DL mount 9mm f2.8 that's coming out.
So it's wider than the 16.
Way wider.
That'll be interesting.
Hey Drew, what is the average flight time?
Oh, that's a good question. Average flight time is going to be determined by your altitude to some degree, and then definitely by the weather. So if it's
and there's different size batteries.
Not for this one.
Not for this one. Just one size for this one.
Not for that one. Actually, not for this one either.
Okay, so they just have standard batteries for each product.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they make one that is a little thicker. So the Matrice M200 series, which is designed for fire departments and engineering firms, is I'll call him later. Sorry. So the TB55 is a little bit thicker.
Okay.
And that one.
It should give you more flight time.
It does. It gives you a little bit more flight time. But the problem is is that you can only carry 3 TB55s on a commercial airline flight. These ones are designed, and that's why there's 2 of them, is that they are designed, you can see that this drone and this drone are different sizes. This one is a little bit smaller,
even though it's similar looking.
It's similar looking. They look the way they do because the landing gear is designed to retract out of the field of view of the camera,
which is brilliant.
But these guys are designed. I can take as many of these on an airplane in my carry-on as I want.
Oh,
because
the bigger ones, no.
Just the right size to where they'll do that. The next size up won't work.
Okay.
And so these.
So what is the average flight time for this one?
This one at sea level on a nice day is almost, it's like 29 or 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
What about a tello? If you're flying that indoors?
Oh, probably 7 or 8 minutes.
Okay.
For one of these little batteries are just these little tiny chiclet batteries. These are about 15, 20 bucks.
What's great is after 7 or 8 minutes, you land it, pop another battery, go for another time. After you do about 3 rotations of the battery, you're probably getting kind of worn out at that time and practice another day.
When you're flying inside.
Yeah,
there's not that much you can do with it. You know, if I fly down, I've flown it downstairs because it actually is sending the video back and everything. So I've flown it downstairs into my boy's room. So like, Daddy's watching you. But it's a little tricky to do that. I've also flown it downstairs and crashed it into the wall 4 times on the way down to get there. So it's tough to get it to the point where you do that.
And even with 2 batteries with the big drone, flight time's still pretty close to the same, isn't it? 20 to 30 minutes?
But it's much heavier. Not even 30 minutes. You probably get 22 minutes maybe out of that.
And that's what this one will do with the big batteries in it as well, about 22, 24 minutes is what I experienced. Nothing over 25 minutes.
Maybe with that camera, but as soon as
with the small camera,
as soon as you put the X5 on it, with the small batteries, you're looking at 13 or 14 minutes.
Oh, sure. But you get the
and
upgraded
maybe
battery.
17 with the bigger batteries. So the difference is the small battery is 4,800 milliamp hours, and the large one is 52.
Right.
So that's the difference. Now.
So guys, with the final 8 minutes left in this episode, what would you say is a good summary of the the DJI Inspire 2 versus the Mavic Pro 2? What are some reasons why people would choose one or the other?
I mean, it's so much more expensive, but the video quality is just top notch. I mean, you're going to get much more, the depth of the lenses is greater, better clarity, the sensor's bigger, you're going to get better nighttime performance, it's going to be a cleaner image, but it all comes at a very high cost.
It does, and this one is amazing. It has a new nighttime, like low light version. It doesn't give you raw files, but inside what it does is it basically takes 5 exposures and stacks them and gets rid of the noise for nighttime stuff. So it's pretty impressive that it can do that.
And the video you saw at the beginning of the show was from this guy.
That's that's the first time I ever flew it. So
the daytime footage is amazing.
It is really, really good. And for 99% of the world, I would say this is the drone. If you're trying to make a living or something like that, then this is the one to get.
Yeah, if you're doing professional work, then you're going to want to upgrade from this to that.
Probably the lens that I use more than anything on this one is the 50mm lens.
Oh, yeah.
Because you get such cinematic, like the compression that you get from standing so far off, and you get some really cool stuff where I mean, for me,
some really awesome parallaxing effect, like if you like the lighthouse you were shooting in Oregon.
So I've got some footage, and actually we should put that up. But I've got some footage from shooting lighthouses in Oregon and castles in Ireland, where I shot them with this. And when you're, when you are shooting from a 50mm from way out, the parallaxing effect where you watch the background go by the subject as you keep that pointed at the subject, and the background is going by like 4 times as fast, and it looks like the lighthouse is holding still. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. It's very cinematic.
And you just don't get it with this. Yeah.
So there's that, but this is, I love the Phantom. There are some reasons that you would still buy a Phantom, but when they came out with this takes probably 60% of those that formerly would buy a Phantom should buy one of these now too, because that camera is just as good. If you're doing surveying, then you buy the Phantom still.
Okay.
The Phantom.
But for just leisurely droning or for taking it on trips, this compact's so much nicer. I mean, it fits in here with the Phantom. It was like way bigger.
We didn't even talk about this. This is a 1-inch Sony sensor. So this is the same sensor as the RX100 Mark V has in it.
That just came out, that new one?
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, they have a Mark VI now, but they still sell the Mark V. Okay. It's fantastic. This is 21 megapixels in a 1-inch sensor, which is
pretty
about
incredible, yeah.
a third the size, maybe, of a Micro Four Thirds sensor.
Okay.
And this one is, you know, a crop sensor, a true Nikon or Sony crop sensor. This is like the A6500 24 megapixel sensor. It is amazing. It is an incredible sensor for a flying camera.
Yeah.
But for $1,500 or maybe
money.
$2,000 with every single thing. Oh, here's one more hint. I've got, I mean, this is so brand new, I still have the stickers on it.
Yeah.
I bought skins for this that are orange.
Okay.
And I did that because it's legal to fly your drone line of sight. What does line of sight mean? As far as you can see it.
You can see it, yeah.
So if you have if your drone is now orange, even though this is so small, that one's big enough. I can keep track of it a lot further away.
Right.
This one is so small, it gets lost in the sky because it's gray. I've noticed that. So I bought orange skins for it, and it's going to be all pretty cool orange next time we see it. And so that's another help.
Okay.
But if you've got more questions for me, I'm going to leave some of these hints in the remarks below somewhere. Somehow we're going to fill those in.
Yeah, I think we can copy and paste the stuff you wrote earlier and put those in the comments.
Okay.
So I'll just paste those in later.
And
yeah,
so
I'm only a second away from doing that, guys. You got it.
Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect. And then we're going to do another one where what I want to do is I want to go through and show you actually how to use the camera settings in here to get killer pictures. And the setting, I mean, we could do another half an hour and show you right now, but
yeah,
we can show you how to take pictures, low light pictures at night, how to set the camera to do the very best video that you can, both with this one and with this one. We can show you what you use D-Log for, which is the log setting that allows you to get kind of a real flat image, which is really boring unless you color grade it.
Yep. Okay.
So we'll show you how to do all of that, and then we'll do another one where we actually show you how to fly these. This for me is, I mean, while it's 50% of my cameras, it's probably 35% of my photography.
Right.
But we obviously haven't covered this well enough based on what we have to show you and teach you. So we'll see if we can't do a little bit better with that in the future, and we're going to do a little bit more of that. We've got we got to go do the Butterfly Biosphere this week, I think. That's going to be fun. So we're going to upcoming stuff. Still, we've got the tour of the Really Right Stuff factory.
We're still talking to them. They're so busy right now. We've got to figure out a good time for them that we can just get in there for a couple hours and do some video and show you guys around their new facility, and it's going to be awesome.
With
awesome.
their move and coming out with the Mark II tripods at the same time they're doing the move, they're so slammed. By the way, if you're a really good machinist, you might want to contact them because there's probably some cool jobs available. So so we're going to do that. We're going to do pano gimbal heads soon. We're going to do tilt shift lenses. All that's coming up, but we hope this has been a little bit helpful, and we will for sure cover drones a little bit more in the future with how to use your camera on the drone to its best effect. It's a little different because I always tell people it's like telling your wife to hold your tripod. You know, it's like, here, honey, hold this really still, and you can only do that to a certain point, and then you still have movement. And so you have to change your style a little bit different. Okay. But this is like a flying tripod, so we'll show you how to do that, and we'll show you how to get off the ground safely as well in an upcoming video. But we appreciate your time, and thanks for tuning in.
See you guys. Hopefully a drone video will get some good traction.